Mental Health Monday.
There. Like I was very methodical.
Yeah.
And then, it's like sometimes if you take one step forward, then the universe takes a few steps towards you.
Yeah.
It's like, our my friend our friend AJ is out there, and I was visiting them very frequently, and I was like, the first time I visited them out there, I was actually like really going through it. Like my life was not looking the way that I wanted it to, and I was like in some sort of crisis, and like the reset that I experienced out there was just, it fed me in a really good way. Like, to have a meal with my friend, to wake up in the morning and like walk to the park and, sit with their dog and just cuddle like with the puppy and just like,
I'm gonna clap, but I am listening.
yeah.
Keep going.
No. It was just really beautiful. And then I kept going, and I just was also moving through like wanting my life to be different. And yeah, it was a very important shift, and it got like a lot of things moving.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Has Asian been taking care of themselves?
I think they are, yeah. I love seeing them go through their ups and downs. Like, we're so close. We live like 3 blocks away from each other. I see them like every single day. There's like someone who's really big in my like support system.
I think they have made some of the best creative pole content, because it's not just like, oh, I'm on the pole. You can tell like, all right, I'm practicing to build to something for it to be a piece of art and my expression, but like, I'm not gonna get better unless I practice.
Their craft is like, they're a very craft person.
Yeah.
And they're very like emotionally present, which is something that I don't know. I just like learn a lot from that, because I feel like I can be more emotional, or I reserve certain emotions.
Yeah.
I'm working on giving my emotions more space. Like, that's definitely, I feel like, something that's like one of my focuses for the next couple of years, is not suppressing everything, because I'm also a pretty optimistic person, so I think I err on the side of like, oh, I'm happy all the time, or there's a bright side, there's this, there's that. So it's like, where are those spaces for myself to be like, this is how I'm feeling, and then like, when you feel it, then you can release it or move through it, or like just the balance is something that's important to me.
I think as an observation, what I've noticed about you is you are optimistic, yes, but I think you do a great job of executing what actions do I need to implement in order to reinforce this thought that I have of my point of view and where I'd like to be eventually.
Yeah.
You do a really good job with that. I don't know if you know, but you, from what I've seen, you do a great job.
Yeah, it's important. I think like my mindset is really important to me.
Yeah.
It's important to my survival, and it's like creating spaces too where things aren't trying to interfere with that mindset, because it's like there's a lot of things in the world that I can't control, but it's like, who's in my community, the spaces that I'm like putting my work into, those are the things that I can be more of like curatorial or in control of. And it's like, I need those spaces to be gentle. I need those spaces to be supportive. Like, I need, feedback to come to me that is, aware of the fullness of who I am and what I might be going through that day. Like, I need like I need care to be communicated to me in those ways. And it's like, some people, they'll say, I need tough love, or I need this. Like, everyone's different, but I think I have clarity about what I need and like how I need to be when I'm receiving feedback as well.
Yeah.
So
one thing I'm working on right now, I don't know if you saw the post, but we're trying to create more spaces for men to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And what I'm coming to realize, and I think I do a really good job with the middle ground of like where the work actually happens and not where people want to see the work happen, which I think are two very different things. Right now, a lot of women and men want there to be vulnerable spaces, but there's not a lot of space in practice for what vulnerability looks like when it comes to men. There's examples, don't get me wrong, but a lot of those examples I don't think are wrong, but a lot of those examples took a lot of work to get to. And in the sit down that I did with the all men vulnerability group, I explained to the men there, they thought I was going to give them like tools to cope and deal with and like what vulnerability looks like. And I said, no, we are going to talk about your mindset. I was like, no matter what, everything that you ask for is going to bring a change in your life. And there's a good chance you may not be ready for the change that you're asking for. So right now, what I'm working on, and it feels tedious to the outside world, but I know it's important to the inside world and the folks that are a part of that group and people may come across my work. Do you know what vulnerability looks like in your life? And I explained to them, vulnerability is going to look different for each one of you because vulnerability is going to be based off of what you've experienced in life and what you're lacking. And we all lack something different.
Yeah.
So the most important tools I could give them right now is recognizing the right people you can be vulnerable with. The right tools I could give you right now is recognizing what's the price you're going to have to pay for that vulnerability when you finally have those moments with people. The price you're going to have to pay is realizing there may be certain things you can no longer say once you've heard it with people who've been vulnerable with you to keep that same energy and define what the boundaries should look like between both of you. And like as a man, this is me speaking as a man from what I've seen and experienced, trust is very hard. It's much easier to say I'm maintaining, I'm chilling than like having the hard conversations or realizing someone may ask me how I'm doing. And I think we as men have an issue with saying, hey, after we meet up, you mind if I call you later and we have a chat? Like that is so much, it's so important to be able to change the room to have the important discussion. And admit I'm not okay, but we can have fun right now. But I really would like to talk about the thing that's important to me and just like creating opportunities for yourself and putting actions behind it. And like talking about things like emotional vulnerability. I just defined that in one of the videos I dropped yesterday. We're going to be talking about social vulnerability. Why is that important when it comes to men and their experiences? There was like a third one, something else vulnerability. Cause like what I did was I looked up the list of words and right now I'm teaching folks like, hey, the reason people say words have meanings isn't just because, oh, the meaning of the words. It's like, no, when you are angry, chances are the feelings of anger that you have, and you probably have gone through this, there's like 5 other definitions or words that actually fit your situation better, and you're not simply angry. Mm-hmm. So if you get to know those words and really think about your situation, which means you're going to have to allow yourself to get angry without doing anything about it and just dissecting what you've gone through, you may realize that your anger is closer to sadness. And then that may change your approach when you approach people about what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, I've realized, like, I've been disappointed by a lot of people.
Yeah. Heavy.
Yeah. And like, what you come to realize is once you realize like what you had is anger, but it's more disappointment, that's more on the side of I'm sad because my perception of you, my perception of the people around you was better. And y'all let my perception down. So do I have a conversation with the folks who let the perception down? Or do I readjust my perception of them and let my actions follow the readjustment?
Yeah, that's tough.
And that's probably like the hardest part for a lot of folks. Like